Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 16th February 2024. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Hardan, 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 Haribol, TRSV, Nectar, NECTAR, Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been talking and discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in this vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of all that we have been trying to do in all my previous videos. So let kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous, present, and future videos. So let us continue with the topic of a discussion for today's video. In the past few videos, we have been trying to analyze, study, and understand about the complete life of a spirit spark in general in this material world. How it comes in touch with this material world, how it changes its identity from a spirit spark to a spirit soul, and then it is wrapped up in a cocoon of four layers of material body and again changes its identity into a living entity, and then once it gets acclimatized to that cocoon, gets sooner or later into a rut of endless births and deaths in various species in this material world. We shall continue with this topic further to understand this theory. By now, we also know that when a human living entity or an ordinary living entity takes birth in the human species as a male or a female, a particular term called psyche arises in its own body or a mind. This psyche is a combination and coordination of the vibrations from the three subtle layers of the body called causal body of intelligence, astral body of mind, and etheric body of senses, plus a mass of tissue called the brain, which is in the fourth material body layer, which is used to make this complete cocoon over the spirit soul. And then there is a term called mind, ego, and memories, which are also as subtle as the first three layers of the material body, but which all collectively or otherwise play a perennial role in deciding how that brain in the gross body works and forms the psyche of that particular human living entity, whether male or female. Now we have come to the extent or to the stage where a human living entity has taken birth as a human being, whether male or female, in a lifetime in this material world. We also know by now that two terms called destiny and karma come into existence the moment a living entity begins his or her first birth as a human being in this lifetime or in any lifetime in the society in this material world. While discussing about karma, we also came across the storage of unworked karma of a human living entity, whether male or female, which is called sanchit karma, which lies as a repository in the superconscious and the subconscious memory of the same living entity. A slice from this unworked storage of Sanchit karma is taken to decide about the next birth of a particular human living entity. In other words, a slice of his or her own Sanchit karma is used to lay the foundation for the next birth into a lifetime of that human living entity in this material world. This goes on on, and several permutations and combinations happen to decide about the complete destiny and the karma of any human living entity, whether a male or female. In this process, we also came across a theory where we found that broadly all human living entities, whether male or female, are initially born alike in this material world, but yet sooner or later, thanks to their destiny and karma, they are divided into three different categories. 75% of the multitude of humanity is put under one category of human living entities. These are the mundane, ordinary, zombie like, vegetative kind of human living entities who come into this material world in a particular birth, thinking or assuming that this life given to them is just a gift from their own destiny and it has to be lived, enjoyed, and suffered according to what their own destiny throws at them. Such people are vegetative and they don't make any contribution, positive or a negative, to this society and this material world just because they don't know the main term which is necessary to understand a life. This term is known as purpose or goal. Now remain the rest 25% of multitude of humanity. Of this 25%, at least 20% realize at last that they indeed have a purpose or goal to achieve in this material world, but alas, due to their own default design, whims, fantasies, choices, preferences, destiny, or karma, get attracted towards and then gravitate towards the dark negative forces of this material world. These dark negative forces have been in existence into this material world for times immemorial. It has only improved further and further due to the passage of several lifetimes of several specimens of humanity, but it has never vanished. Now, these people who get attracted to the dark negative forces may or may not realize that whatever they have to achieve as a goal in their own destiny lies in that dark negative bracket, or they may sooner or later realize their own mistake of having been gravitated towards or attracted towards this 20% bracket of negative forces, and so take the risk of moving out of this 20% bracket back to the 75% vegetative kind, albeit more matured and experienced, and then slowly but steadily strive to reach the minimum 5% or remaining 5% of humanity. This 5% belongs to those chosen living entities who are also aware of their own purpose or goal in life, but that goal is decidedly positive. This positive purpose may be material or may be spiritual or both. It is these people who strive to get self realized as a spirit soul and not as a living entity, then get liberated from this endless cycle of birth and death, and finally get delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as evolved, experienced, superior spirit souls. While talking about this theory, we discussed about several case histories to authenticate this theory and to make us understand this better. But before proceeding further in discussing about the case history, I must remind you that both the spirit whole and the material world are superior and inferior energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hence, any creation in both of them is a creation by the Lord Himself, and so He does not differentiate between the divine, the demonic, the ignorant, passionate, good, or any other type of a living entity, whether human or otherwise. In other words, he gives as much importance to those who are from the vegetative kind as he gives to those who get into the rut of the negative forces or get into the chosen positive forces in a lifetime. Hence, Any living entity, especially human living entity, who happens to find himself or herself in the 20% negative bracket and who understands that his or her purpose in life lies in that dark 20% negative bracket in the material world is as much dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as anyone from the 75% mundane category of humanity or 5% positive category in this material world. Thus, anyone who is able to achieve his or her ultimate purpose or goal in life in the 20% negative bracket is as much qualified as a soul to be delivered into the Supreme Personality of Godhead as anyone from the 5% category of positive human living entities. The 75% are yet trying to evolve into the stage where they can realize their actual purpose in life. While discussing about the case histories regarding this particular theory, we came across the case history of one Joaquim El Chapo Guzman from the Sinaloa province of Mexico and who was a part and parcel of the negative variety. We are trying to understand the life of this particular living entity which feels that its own purpose or ultimate goal in life lies in that 20% negative bracket. We know by now that this living entity, once long back, in another birth or a lifetime, as a male or as a female, decided to get attracted into this 20% negative bracket. Thus, the Sanchit karma of unworked karma of this particular living entity became decidedly negative long back. And a slice from that Sanchit karma was being taken by the same living entity for each of his or her future births into this lifetime in the material world. Because this slice called prarabdha karma was of a negative type of actions and reactions, hence, directly or indirectly, his or her free will kriyamana karma was also automatically designed and became a part and parcel of the permutation and combination of various actions and reactions during several lifetimes. Thus, the Sanchit karma of negative actions and reactions of that living entity became steadily ballooning into a very large size, as a result of which a slice that particular living entity chose for his birth as Joaquim El Chapo Guzman was decidedly negative prarabdha karma. Because of that, even in this lifetime, his free will kriyamana karma automatically became more and more negative, and how we shall talk about this in this video. We know by now that this living entity, which was born as a Chapo in this lifetime, belonged to that category which sincerely believed that its purpose in life lay in that 20% negative category. As a result of this, all those who came in touch with him due to their own personal prarabdha karma found sooner or later that this particular chapo only gave them pain and not pleasure in the long run. This included his own mother, several wives, brother, and his own sons. This Joaquim Chapo Guzman could not help. He was as much a victim of his own prarabdha and kriyamana karma as those living entities were. Yes, it is quite possible that they had not graduated into such evil living entities as Chapo, but nevertheless they were awestruck by the negative forces or results that this person and connection with this person was spewed on them. As a result of this, his own mother had to go through a life where she lost one son and one grandson, besides watching this Chapo being imprisoned in various prisons in Mexico time and again. Similarly, this guy's son, who was killed in a gang war in which Chapo was involved, made that boy's mother weep blood because of her own loss, which was directly a result of her marrying Chapo Guzman. In fact, this lady went and told another wife of Chapo, leave this man as soon as possible because he will sooner or later give you only pain. This is all I wanted to talk about in this particular video. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular matter. Before concluding, let me give you an information that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Please give me your own expert views, thoughts, opinions, and ideas regarding this matter so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me give you a very happy good morning.